Welcome to Jen Cares Live Talks powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, the show that brings the community to you Mondays at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations, featuring guests that help us stay in the know. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares Talks, Live Talks, powered by Swagger Magazine and Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jennifer Harris, also known as Jen Cares, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. Here at Jen Cares, we specialize in bringing the community to you. So we thank you for tuning in and joining us. Be sure to engage in conversation by dropping some comments below. Hit a like, hit a love. Just come on, vibe with us, okay? So I want to say thank you to our guests from last week, Majaya Ryans. Such a good episode. Friends, don't give up. Keep on standing, keep on going. There is more. Don't give up. We have some hope and support for you out there, okay? So I want to take a moment to honor one of our sponsors, of course, Swag Her Magazine. Let's first talk about the Visibility Vault for Black business women. You want to become a founding member today. Why? Because the Ascend founding members are the women who believed first, the ones who saw the vision before it was polished and said yes to elevation early. If you're called to more visibility, more authority, and true alignment, then this tier is for you. If you're called, because visibility isn't about going viral. It's about being positioned, walking into rooms already respected, being introduced as the expert. Ascend is for the woman who isn't asking for a seat. She is building tables. So you want to be sure to invest in yourself today. Visit swagheronline.com to find out more. I also want to share with you about the Swag Her travel books. You want to share your information with some people that are at conferences, when they give out the books and the handouts. This is your time to shine. So we want to spotlight your story, showcase your journey and accomplishments. Let me try that again. Rewind. Tap into Swag Her travel books. Let us spotlight your story, showcase your journey and accomplishments with style. This is designed to amplify your visibility. These exclusive features are distributed at premier Black women's empowerment events, putting you in front of a dynamic and supportive audience. If you're interested, please head on over to swagherpr.com for more info. Friends, I'm getting tongue-tied on this lovely Monday. I got it together. Get it together. Get it together. You got it, girl. Got to have a pep talk sometimes, too. So let's get into our topic for tonight. Tonight, we have the amazing Lani Shaw, and I'm so excited to have her. We're going to talk about the 9-to-5 shift, because sometimes most of us have more than one stream of income, right? So what does that look like? How do we balance that? I'm going to just bring her on up here so she can share those things. So help me welcome the amazing Lani Shaw. Hello. Uh-oh. Here we go. All right. She'll be right back. All right. But we're going to be talking about protecting mental health while pursuing more, guilt from family, work, or self while you're stretching because you're doing all these different things, avoiding burnout while honoring your ambition and what it is that you want to do, setting boundaries at work to protect your dream, rest as a strategy, and signs that it may be time to transition from job to business. So we're going to talk about all those things. But who's in the building tonight? Who's tuned in? Drop a comment and tell us hello. Our guest is having a slight little delay, but she'll be right back. We're going to get right into this lovely conversation. I hope that you're having a great day. We are officially in the second quarter of the year. April is here. It's supposed to bring us some showers, so then we can get the May flowers. So that ought to be nice as well. But all right. So now we're talking about the 9-to-5. So those that are tuned in, do you have a job outside of your 9-to-5? What do you do? What caused you to start it? Do you like it? I'll start. I do. I do some groups on the side and I really do enjoy it. It keeps me connected with the community as I share with you how to support them in reinventing themselves, like how you see yourself, what are your goals, how do you manage your feelings and emotions, how do you handle conflict resolution, healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships. And I got to be honest, I am always surprised with what the young people of today tell me, okay? But I'm excited to be able to encourage them of what a healthy relationship looks like, what an unhealthy relationship looks like, how to manage conflict resolution. And the funny thing is, or the honest truth is that even as adults, we are still learning what a healthy relationship is, right? What an unhealthy relationship is, how to move out of those kind of situations when we shouldn't be in them anymore, how to resolve conflict, it's really interesting seeing drivers on the road because road rage is real, right? So in handling conflict, how are you doing when frustrating, times are happening on the road? Are you flipping them the bird? Are you road rage to cause an accident? I remember one time I didn't get over in time in the car. I felt like he was trying to push me off the road. Thankfully, he didn't. But sometimes we don't always handle conflict really well. So as I share with the young people, I'm also letting them know that they too can it's an ever learning thing, an ever growing thing. So that's one of my side hustles. I also do some supports with friends and businesses and things. And sometimes it can be really hard to try to balance it all out because you're trying to live your life, trying to do those things, trying to pay your bills, and then trying to also enjoy life. Because if you are working several jobs or having multiple streams of income, the hope is that you too are taking time as needed to make sure you're getting the support you need, the rest that you need, so you don't burn out. Okay? It's good to have the side hustles that bring you joy, that don't bring you stress, right? Because your main gig sometimes can bring you enough stress, and you don't want your side hustle to do that. So you want to find side hustles that bring you joy, those things that are on your heart to do. I have a friend, she recently just moved to go to culinary school. In her heart, she wants to be a cook. She wants to be a chef. So that's her passion, is driving her. So right now she's doing that. And the hope is that when she gets back from, completing that program, that she'll be inspired to keep on cooking for fun, not to be overwhelmed with it, but to do it for fun. So again, friends, we're talking about the 9 to 5 shift. The 9 to 5 shift, yes, after hours, because when we get off our job, what are we doing at nighttime? How is that working out for us? Are we overwhelmed from it? Is it too much? Is it not enough? Are we enjoying what we're doing, Because sometimes we went into a job and we went to school for it, and it's like, all right, this is what I'm doing, but that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? So we get a side hustle that helps us to bring joy, self-care, balance out the stress and worries. When I was in social work, I needed something different to do so that I wouldn't be burnt out. It was really hard sometimes being in the homes, going out to see the families, and you want to be of support to the people. So you want to also make sure that you're getting the self-care that you need. So give me a moment. I'm going to check in with our guest just to see if she is still having trouble. 1 second. All right. One more second, please. All right, we're going to keep on going until she's able to join us. So again, we're talking about the 5 to 9 shift. Excuse me, I was doing it 9 to 5, but we're talking about the 5 to 9 shift after hours of your main gig. All right. So our quote for today is: we always have a quote of the day. It is: the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Again, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And we'll come back to this in a second. But this is a really good quote because a lot of times we're prioritizing what's on the schedule, right? We're saying we got to get these things done, but we need to schedule priorities, what needs to be done, right? So that we don't become overwhelmed, we don't become frustrated. Because sometimes a lot of things can be on a schedule and it's not important. But what is important? You have to figure out what's important for you to complete in that day and writing out a list. To-do lists are great. It works great for some people, setting some calendars, some time limits of when you can work on said projects, so that you don't become overwhelmed and things of that sort. So some of the questions are, let's get into it. What inspired me to start a side hustle while working full time? Bills. As an adult, sometimes you have to do these different things to work out life of that sort. Here we go. All right. Here we go.
I am here.
All right. So I'm going to do a little reboot. Thank you all for joining us. We have Lani Shaw here tonight. We're going to start with our. How are you doing?
I'm here. So
I
I'm
take it.
doing
I
well.
take it. I take it. I take it. Okay, so here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is: the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Again, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. What are your thoughts on that quote?
That is a great quote because your priorities really are those things that matter, that you want to prioritize, that you want to align with your goals. And so if you're just looking at your schedule, you're really just looking at busy work. And so I try to always urge myself and others to think about what your priorities are and that big picture at the end of the day.
And that's good because busy work can get us really tied up, and then it's not the stuff we needed to get done. It's like some stuff we could have did, but we didn't have to do it. Like me doing my chores, I need to do that, but I'm just choosing to be lazy and stuff. I don't have to look at the shows. I can put the shows on and do chores, right? We gotta schedule that a little bit better. I do at least.
I hear you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
That's a great question. I'm very happy to be with you today. And I am an attorney by trade. I've practiced law for 21 years. I'm a federal government attorney with a focus on banking. And along the way, I really did start to focus on training, development, leadership, employee engagement. And that path led me to coaching. And so I've been
Yeah,
an executive coach for the past year, started my own company so that I could do coaching and consulting. And my niche or the specialty that I like to work with is really helping women and any professional prepare themselves for that next position, that next
mhm,
level of leadership, and also helping folks navigate pivots.
gotcha. Navigate pivot. I want to go to that. Let me start here. Navigate pivot. Um,
Yes,
because sometimes we don't know when we should pivot, or
that could
we
be
fall
true.
into a pivot, or we intentionally went into the pivot. All those things. Let's talk about that. How does that process work for somebody?
I think it really is understanding that if you are going to navigate a pivot, you're not starting from ground zero. You
Mm,
start with a life full of experiences, positions, skill set that you bring to the table. And basically, you're just navigating yourself into this pivot, understanding how those skills will help you to be successful in that next role. And so,
mm,
whether it's starting a business, whether it's, moving from project management to, consulting, you have this wonderful set of skills that will help you to just really move forward in that and to flourish. And so that's what I help clients to identify.
very nice. Very nice. Another part you shared was about the employee engagement. I thought that was pretty interesting because oftentimes at a job, you'll hear the HR is for the job, not for you.
Hmm.
A little bit, right? Um, but I thought it was pretty cool. My company a couple of years ago started a mentorship program, right? So that you could be mentored or you could get a mentee. Um, yeah, you could get a mentor or you could get a mentee. And I had got a mentee. I thought it was pretty cool because our company is so big and has so many programs in it. You get to learn about different opportunities so that you can like switch around and things of that sort. People don't often do these things, right? But they were really trying to support employees to feel supported as being a new employee there or an employee that's like, I don't want to be here anymore. What is my purpose? Do I need to pivot, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's really cool. So, can you tell more about what employee engagement was that you did and how people can get engaged in their employee?
From the point of view that I have, employee engagement really is taking a look at which is your best asset,
Mhm,
the people force, the people that work for
mhm,
you, and trying to figure out if they're happy, trying to figure out how engaged they are. Because if
mhm,
they're not engaged, then that means that they're more than likely going to experience burnout. They're not going to enjoy the work that they do. They're not going to
mhm,
be as productive. There's so many surveys that will tell you that. And
mhm,
so, if the employee engagement process is trying to figure out sort of where you stand at the core with that
mhm,
resource and
mhm.
how you can bring on opportunities, whether it's a rotation, a stretch assignment, giving folks opportunities to lead, whether you can do those things that help to further the engagement of your staff.
I like it. I like it. I also enjoy, sharing about like the yearly evaluation, performance evaluation,
Hmm.
right? Because then you kind of find out, like, your boss will tell you how you're doing. But I also encourage people to really, how's your job doing? Is your job meeting the needs that you want? You know, are you feeling fulfilled? Do you still want to be here? Because that could tell you too if you need to pivot into a 5 to 9, right?
That's right.
Because the daytime job is handling the main bills, but sometimes your passion goes beyond those hours, or you want to get into a niche to do the coaching beyond the support that you did, you know, in that business, not that the 5 to 9 is not a business, but like the separate of the
Hmm.
daytime of like really honing in on it. During the 9 to 5, you gotta, like, it's like this one cup. But after hours, oh, I got a big whole smorgasbord of different ways that I could support and things. So in that, you said you became this coach. What made you go into this to, you know, have this as a side hustle, or how rewarding has it been for other people that are thinking of either becoming a coach or they need you as their coach?
Those are great questions. And I'll say that I came to coaching because I had been coached. And
Okay.
it turned out to be a really good experience for me at one
Mhm.
point in my career where I felt sort of like I'm stuck. I don't understand how to get to the next level. So I
Mhm.
worked with a coach to get unstuck and to figure out what my goals were and to have some clarity on what the next steps of my career could be. And then
Mhm.
at another point when I had been promoted and I was like, okay, well, what does that mean to be promoted? How do I manage this? How do I work with the team? How do I figure this out? And so coaching was instrumental in my success both times.
Okay.
And along the way, I said, I want to offer that to other people because it just really does mean something to be able to give back and to help others. And I've learned that coaching really is a passion of mine. I didn't know that 5, 10
Mhm.
years ago, but
Mhm.
it really does bring me joy to help people, navigate a pivot or to figure out how to get promoted or how to get unstuck or any of
Mhm.
those life issues because coaching really is about, doing those things that will impact your life. So any of that I can assist employees with or others that are engaging in coaching, it makes me happy.
I like that. You had a coach that inspired you to then be a coach. And that's how we get connected with a lot of things. You know, grandma was a good cook. That inspired me to be a cook. You know, somebody else talked me through my problems. That inspired me. I'm being a therapist to talk people
Absolutely.
through their problems, right? And that's the power that you have that you don't even realize. They're just being themselves and supporting you, helping you. It's like, you've empowered me so much. I got to help somebody else because they also could benefit from this. And that's the dopeness of how that one seed was planted. And now all these flowers are in the garden.
All it
But it's,
takes is one seed, and
yeah.
somebody is always watching. So just keep that in mind.
Somebody is always watching. Now, how do you, in that watching, because they're seeing you do these things and you're
Hmm.
doing it so effortlessly, so gracefully, how do you balance it? Because sometimes it could be a little overwhelming, you know. I, as a therapist, I always make sure, like, when I'm talking to people, I'm not therapizing. One of my friends, she's like, so is this therapist Jen or Jen, my friend? Which one do you want? Because I really just want to be Jen, your friend, you
Right.
know. So how do you balance it out of the different roles?
Well, you know what? Life is really is about trial and error. So you figure out what works, and if it's not working, then you make the change. You make that shift. But for me, it really has been about having good systems in place. Making sure that I understand those priorities that I'm focusing on, and making
Mhm.
sure that the systems that I have help to stand up the business. So no, I know that if I'm going to record for YouTube, I want to do that on a certain day. I want to
Mhm.
edit on a certain day. And so to me, that is okay, this is the work that I want to do. I know this work has to get done. I'm going to prioritize it.
Yeah.
Also, boundaries. A lot of people have a very hard time saying no. And I've learned a long time ago that no is a full sentence. And so if you cannot do something, just don't do it. Tell people you can't do it. People should understand if they care about you. And so those are some of the tips that I have that have kind of helped me this past year as I navigate this journey.
I'm trying to write that down. People should understand if they care about you. That's a mouthful, right? I remember, I don't know how long ago it was, but it was a young lady. She was busy in her 5 to 9 business, or it could have been her 9 to 5, but she was busy, busy, busy cooking, being there for people, not saying no. And she's like, I just need some rest. I just need some rest. And unfortunately, um I don't she didn't necessarily get there where she ended up passing away and things of that sort. The burnout piece. And then no, like, people, they can love your cooking, they can love you as the coach, they can love you as their teacher, they can love you as their driver. Whatever it is that you do for them, you still need to be able to have a break. And if people care about you, they should understand. That's powerful right there.
I'm glad that's resonating with you. It really is about understanding that the boundaries that you put in place are for
Mhm,
you to
mhm,
navigate. Other
mhm.
people might understand that you have a boundary, but they're not going to respect it until you respect it.
Yeah.
And so saying no, understanding how to manage your energy, thinking about your capacity, those types of things are your responsibility as the owner of the business or as the employee.
And we talk about business, but this is also practical parts of life too, right?
Just practical.
They won't respect it until you respect it. That's another good one. You dropping some gems here, right? Because the minute you let them slide, it's like you give them an inch, they take them out. You
And
got
you
to be
know
so
what?
careful.
And they'll keep asking if they
Mhm.
don't respect you and your boundaries. So that's just something that you have to be comfortable enough to navigate.
Yeah. And people are not always comfortable to navigate that because they feel bad or they feel like they want to please the people or they want to do whatever it is the
That's
person is
why they work
asking.
with that's why they should work with a coach.
But to learn the power of no, and that it is a
The-
complete sentence. Uh,
yes.
I like it. I like it. So, whew, this is good. This is good. So, how do you manage your energy? Like, it sounds like you are motivated in being this coach and things of that sort. Because other people are like, I want to do a side hustle. I want to maybe connect with a coach so I can know that, where I should pivot, how I should pivot. But how do you keep your energy up and motivation up to keep on going forward and doing these things that are on your plate that you do?
So when I started this venture, I did not want to call it a side hustle because I
Oh,
didn't think that it was something that was a side hustle. I wanted it to feel much
mm,
more to me. And so I went to ChatGPT. I was like, what else can I call it? And
come on,
ChatGPT said,
ChatGPT.
GPT said, call it a parallel career. So you have a parallel career.
Mm,
So you have your attorney career that you're giving your 40 hours to, and you're also going to give your energy to this passion that you call this coaching because it's your passion
mhm,
and you're successful at it. And so you're going to navigate that. And so when I think about how I work, how I move, I don't want to be in a place where I come home from my day job and say, well, I can't even devote an hour to something that I said is a
mm,
parallel career. So that's
mm,
how I come to it. But along the way, anything that you do, you've got to give yourself some grace. And so I
mm,
always say, if I'm tired, if I need to take a moment, I'm going to do that because it's either mental exhaustion, which leads to burnout, or it is, your body tired. At some point, you've got to rest. And so I always try to build in time for rest. That means that if I'm resting today, then tomorrow's a new day. Do what I need to do tomorrow.
yeah. Mm. So many good points there. Of my business, I definitely took some time to rest this weekend, and then I felt inspired to do my chores today. I was so proud of myself,
There you go. There
but
you
I needed the
go.
moment, and that exhaustion is really big because you do get that burnout. Um, and sometimes we don't pick up on a warning sign that we are on the verge of burnout. And burnout looks different for so many different people. Burnout could be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that at all anymore. Or, yep, I'm going to be on do not disturb for a month and things like that. And people, if they care, they will understand, but they will try to put some support in place. But sometimes they don't understand
Mhm.
because they like, no, but I need you. Can you come over? And things of that sort. But that mental exhaustion definitely can lead to that burnout. But again, we're not always aware of the triggers or the things that's pushing us further and closer and closer and closer to that burnout.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking about.
Mm. I like the other part too. If anything you do, give yourself grace. We are human. We can get tired. People can people us, and we don't have the capacity anymore for said people. So giving ourselves grace, and that's really cool as a parallel career. Because and not that side hustle has like a bad connotation to it and things of that sort. You hustle and you grind and things of that sort
Mhm.
that sometimes takes over to become your main, career and things of that sort. But that parallel is pretty cool of like I'm devoting just as much energy to the other as I am to this. And I'm excited about it and we're on the same track. So that's pretty cool. So in that, what boundaries have you set, or what's some boundaries that we could set in trying to have parallel careers? I'm going to use your word to balance it out and not become overwhelmed or get to this mental exhaustion.
It really is one boundary that I think of is always about my self care
Mhm,
and making sure that I'm healthy enough to run a side business or a parallel career alongside my day job. And
mhm,
so I'm a runner, and so that's non-negotiable for me. So I run 3 to 4 times a week. I lift weights. I think about what I'm eating. because that makes me feel happy when I do the
Mhm.
things that I know are a part of my discipline. And so
Mhm.
I try to track that, because if I say that this is important to me, I want to be able to show that to my clients, because I think
Mhm.
they're watching as well, as they follow me on social media. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. That's one boundary. And rest, it really is a boundary, because
Mhm.
like, you were talking about needing to rest this weekend. This weekend, I had 5 or 6 things on my list that I needed to do, but I took the weekend off because I knew that I needed to get some rest. And
Mhm.
so I felt mentally recharged. And so those things that I wanted to do on Saturday, I did them today before our call,
Mhm.
because I knew that they still needed to get done. And so
Mhm.
that's part of the giving myself grace, but
Mhm.
also understanding that the priorities that I've set, the work that needs to be done, will get done. It might not have gotten done on Saturday, but today's Monday and it got done. So
Yeah.
you got to have a little bit of flexibility. You can't be
Mhm.
as strict or rigid at all times. But if you have some boundaries, like for me, the self care or prioritizing the rest, it will work
Mhm.
well for you.
I like it. I like it. And self care looks different for everybody. I remember
It does.
somebody was like, getting your nails done is not self care. I said, ooh, ooh. To some people, that is self care. You can't rain on their parade or yuck their yum. That's what they enjoy doing. It makes them feel good. Me and a coworker, we go back and forth because we like our little nails. And I'm trying to do this natural thing, but I miss my nails. But it also, I don't like the damage that it does to my nails, right?
Hmm.
But she's like, they're growing so well and things hurt. But that's like I think we like, I feel girly. I feel, it just brings you joy. Or getting your hair done, letting somebody else watch it, or you doing it. Everything looks different. Whatever your self care looks like, go for that run. Uh, Meal prepping, that brings some people joy
That's
because they're
right.
being intentional for what that week looks like for their food and things of that sort. But also making it a non-negotiable. That part right there is it, right? Because we'll be like, we'll make up an excuse of why we can't do it. It's like, nope, I gotta get this done because I know that this brings me joy. This makes me happy. This helped me jumpstart my day, or
Hmm.
get back on track when life is life. And I like that. And being healthy enough, because sometimes we're not going to the doctor because we just doing what we got to do for all these other people, and then we get there too late, and then we miss some things, right? I always
There
get
you
on my
go.
soapbox about this, because we want to make sure that we're checking up on ourselves to make sure things are good. If you're feeling some type of way, being honest with your doctor too, if something's going on, and then that part of rest, and it kind of goes with our quote of that prioritizing. We think that rest is not as important, or like I can get 3 hours and be good, or I just grab a Red Bull or a Celsius and I'm great. Too much of that's still not good for us either, friends, right? So we gotta
That's right.
prioritize because only we know how many hours we really need. Some people can really survive off of 3. Some people can survive off of 6. Some people need 12. I don't know how they work that out, but God bless them, right? But really trying to prioritize that, that's pretty good. Oh goodness. Okay. Um, but that goes to the piece of what should be a priority, right? Because sometimes people don't know what is a priority.
Well, it really does depend person by
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
Folks are balancing different things.
Yeah.
Someone might be in a relationship where they have to make that a priority. Someone might have children, younger children.
Mhm.
It just kind of depends on what life has brought you. And at some point, you have to sit down and determine, okay, this is going to be my list of priorities
Mhm.
because it aligns with my values and the goals that I'm setting for myself. And then you manage after time.
Yeah.
And it goes along with that energy piece, that energy management piece that we were talking about. Because if you
Mhm.
say something's a priority but it's draining you, then maybe you
Mhm.
want to take another look at your priorities and
Yeah.
figure out if that's still workable or if something has
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Just like you're saying, if something is a priority today, doesn't mean that it's going to be a priority in 5 years.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah,
She said 5 years. It might not even be a priority tomorrow. I ain't gonna hold you.
exactly.
Depending on what it is. But also, again, like you're saying, like, is what's important to you at that moment or what needs to get done. It's almost like, too, when you get your paycheck, right? What's the
Hmm.
priority? Your mortgage and rent. You want to have that roof over your head. Number one.
Yeah.
All right. I know you want to go on that trip, but please, please, please pay
And
that to have that roof.
if the trip is the priority, then you move like it is, right? You
Mhm.
cut back somewhere else so that you can go
Yes.
on that trip.
Come
It's
on. And
all in
that's
how you function.
That's not how you function. They got payment plans out here, friends. You don't have to overwhelm yourself and things like that. But like again, those are the things. What's most important? Making sure that's taken care of. If you're low on food, there's a lot of food banks out and around. You can go to and things of that sort. And then you got some friends that'll reach out. A friend called me, I said, "Should I made a plate for you? Thank you. I ain't had to cook. I ain't had to, you appreciate those things. Your village comes through. So yes, identifying what your priorities are. Okay. So and we talked about here sacrifices because you might have to cut something else out.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you don't get your nails done that week. But if that's a non-negotiable for you, then you want to go ahead and get that done, right? But it might be that you don't buy clothes. I'm on this thing where I'm trying not to buy clothes. I bought my first outfit of the year the other day because I have not been buying clothes because I have too many clothes. I'm working on it. I'm taking my bag to the Goodwill tomorrow. Okay.
Oh, your work in progress. I love
I'm
it.
working on, and I'm giving myself grace. But
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was so cool that I, for sure, went 3 months without buying any clothes. I feel like I just be wanting to buy stuff. It look nice, and I feel like I need it. But I got stuff in the closet that could work. So again,
Mm-hmm.
your priorities. If you're trying to be more conscious of not bringing more stuff in the house, because that's why I just become junk and clutter, right? Prioritizing. I can't do that. The sacrifice of making girl, rework what you got in there. Because sometimes you put something together, you're like, I didn't even know I had it. They're like, oh, that's cute. I say, yeah, just going through my closet. Stuff you ain't never even bought, right?
And it's
But
it's new today. It's new
it's
today for you because you put it
new
together.
because
So
I
there you
put it
go.
together. But there's still really some stuff that still had tags on. I got to do better. But again, when we focus in and hone in, we have like our parallel careers and things of sort. But it's not to. It's also for a goal of that. Like, what did you get it for? Why did you do it? And what are you doing with those funds of that to prioritize your livelihood and things? And that's the part that people have to figure out how that balances out for them as well, because it's different for
Yeah,
everybody.
that's a good point. Yes, I
Mm.
agree.
Now, how do you stay disciplined
Ooh.
to
Mhm.
these parallel careers, and find time for yourself too, and that self care?
Honestly, I write everything down. So
Okay.
I have my calendar and I
Hmm.
know what needs to happen and when it needs to happen and I set my goals. I did a goal setting workshop. That was my first workshop as a coach. I did it in December. And I
Okay.
because I really wanted, clients and attendees to set their goals for the whole year. And
Okay.
then along the way, I'm tracking them on a quarterly basis. So if there's at any point where you're saying something was important to you and you didn't get it done, hey, you got second quarter to now amp it up a little bit and figure out what went wrong. And so I'm just a person that really does track a lot of stuff. I'm tracking my goals. I'm tracking my monthly wins, my daily wins, my weekly wins. I'm tracking, I'm aggregating my accomplishments at work so that when it's time for performance time, I can say, you know what, this is why I deserve XYZ.
Yay!
Nobody's gonna out evidence me. I have all my evidence prepared.
I like
It
it. She has
but
receipts, friends.
and it also is a confidence booster. I know people don't
Yes.
think of it this way, but if you write
Mhm.
down all the phenomenal things that you're doing on a daily,
Yes.
weekly, monthly
Yes.
basis, it boosts your confidence because you're
Mhm.
doing more than you actually think you are doing.
For
You're
sure.
achieving more.
For
Yes.
sure. And I think we miss out on wins when we don't do that, right? Because we be like, I didn't go running today, or I didn't, have the best meal today, or I didn't, blah, 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 blah. But when you look at, maybe how your clothes are fitting, inches have gone off, or like pounds have gone off, if that was like your
Hmm.
goal or things of that sort, and seeing those wins. And like you said, giving yourselves grace.
Because every day is
Not,
not going to be perfect. Every
it's
hour
not.
is not going to be perfect.
Yes.
But if collectively, if you have more wins than you have losses, you're doing
Mhm.
okay.
You're doing okay. And you still got another chance to try again tomorrow. So you're
A new
doing
day.
okay. Another part you said was telling you checked to my yoga school, but nobody asked you to hold nobody accountable, ma'am. But let's talk about why accountability is important and why maybe we should consider having somebody hold us accountable.
Well, that's why people come to coaching because
Okay.
they've had all these goals for
Mm-hmm.
so many years. They thought they were doing something about them, but they didn't achieve them. There's this evidence that will tell you if you write your goals down, you're 3, 4 times more likely to achieve them. If you
Yeah.
write them down and tell them to somebody, i.e., your coach, your mentor, another person that you trust,
Mm-hmm.
the number just increases of your chances of achieving it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're meeting with someone twice a month, 2 times or
Mhm.
3 times a month, or what have you, and
Mhm.
they're going to check in with you and ask you about your progress, that increases your accountability because
Yeah.
now you have to tell somebody whether you did something or you didn't. And
Yeah.
most people don't want to be on the side of saying I didn't do it. Most
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
want to make the other person happy even though it's
Mhm.
about themselves.
Mhm.
And so that's why coaching really does work.
Yeah, yeah. Or they avoid you like the plague. It's funny. My friends be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do such and such and such and such," and like you won't see them for a little bit, and then you'll see, but like, "Hey, did you do? How many you can hear, and then you have a conversation of like, how can I support you with it, things of that sort. Because if you care, you also want to, support your friends with connecting them with the resources. Not you necessarily doing it, but sometimes you can connect them with a coach, so that they can have somebody to hold them accountable and get them through. Pretty
Absolutely.
good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay. Um, so what advice do you give somebody that's trying to pivot? Um, One, connecting with a coach, and how does one do that? But then what's the next step?
So for someone that wants to pivot, I really want them to start writing down all the things that they've done in their career
Mm.
and bring that to the conversation because it really shows you that you're not starting from ground zero and
Mhm.
that moving into this next phase of your career, your life, it really is just a natural next step.
Mhm.
Coaching really does help you to sort of piece that together better, so that you can
Mhm.
understand and articulate your value and have those impact type of conversations. But you
Mhm.
can start to do some of the work on your own if
Okay.
you're tracking your wins, if you're writing down monthly and yearly what you've been achieving. And so that's how you're going to navigate your pivot. You're going to take all of that evidence into this next phase. You see, I'm a lawyer because I talk about evidence. You're going to take all of that evidence into this next phase of your career and you're going to rock it
Mhm.
because that's just what you would do. If you're really, excited or passionate about I need to be a nurse or I need to be XYZ. This
Yeah,
is just going to help sort of compound that and make it easier for you to achieve that goal.
that's good. I was talking to a young man the other day, and he graduated high school,
Hmm.
went to college, and is now at this place of a pivot. Like, I don't want to pursue this degree. I don't, not sure what I want to do and things of that sort. And in hearing you say this, I realized the importance of us prioritizing better conversations with youth when they graduate from high school. Like I'm always telling kids, you don't have to go to college if you don't want to. One is expensive. Um, I was blessed to have the loan forgiveness. Everybody doesn't have that.
Hmm.
The world ain't trying to have that continue and things of that sort. But it can be expensive. But also, it's some time that you can't necessarily get back. So you want to kind of like use time wisely. I mean, you learn a lesson from it either way. Um, but really identifying what it is that you want to do, what it is that brings you joy, um, because you'll get into a field and that's not what you wanted to do, and then you're exhausted, you're burned out, you're irritated, agitated. Then you got to pay them loans back, and you're hoping that the job that you get aligns with what you went to school for to be able to help you support that. Um, so this is really good of the importance of having a conversation with people that you know, because you never know when they're struggling with doing a pivot. When is this the right field for me to be in? Sometimes I'm a good people person, so I'm gonna do customer service. But you get cussed out the fifth time in one day, how you gonna do? So you really have to like talk through and process through what works for you, what doesn't work for you, to know if I should or if I shouldn't do that.
And another thing that goes along with that discussion, because I think you really did hit the head on the nail when you talk about maybe college is not right for you now, or maybe you want to do something else. But it's never too late to pivot. And I see
Mhm.
this conversation happening a lot, unfolding a lot, like on threads when people are like, "Oh, I want to go to law school and I'm in my 50s, or I want to go to medical school and I'm 45." Okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
go.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
that's your lifelong dream, you're never going to be as young as you are today. So if you want to go, start the process and get moving on it. If you
Right.
want to be a realtor, if you want to be a coach, whatever it is. And so most people that pivot, if you look at the statistics, most people that pivot are between the age of 35 and 45 to 50.
Mhm.
Most people that make their first million are past the age of 45. So today is the day. I mean, if
That
you
is
really want to
today.
do something, let's get moving on it. Whether you're going to do it and take those small steps yourself, or whether you're going to partner with someone else to do it. But it's never too late. I saw the story about a journalist. Her mother got matched in residency, and she was like 72 years old.
Wow.
If she would have listened to the people that told her don't go to
Hmm.
medical
Hmm.
school, she would
Yeah.
have not gotten matched. But look, she
Yeah.
followed her dream, and so that story, those type of stories, inspire me.
Yes. And that's so big. Like, soon as you realize that you're in a situation where you don't want to be, actively doing what you need to do to get out of that situation or to find out what your next is. Because, okay, I don't clear, I'm not saying like quit your job because you feel like, oh, yes, I didn't want to be there anyway. And Jen said move. No, no. You want to have a plan of where you're going because you still got to pay the bills, where you're living at and things of that sort. Unless you got somebody that's gonna take you in, rock out. They can take me in too. I'm teasing. But like you want to make sure that like your moves are strategic and that you are making sure that something is there so that you can stay afloat and not go under.
Well, and
But
I encourage people, if you want to try it out,
mhm,
move with both. I
yeah,
have a
yeah,
couple of clients that I coach that, full-time employees, they're trying their hand at entrepreneurship.
mhm, mhm,
If it blows up one day, they have their job to fall back on, but the
yeah,
goal is for them to transition into that full-time
yeah,
entrepreneurship when the time is right. But
mhm,
there's
mhm,
nothing that says that you can't be have more of a planned pivot in
yeah,
terms of, I'm paying my bills with this job in the
mhm,
daytime, and I'm making sure that I have health insurance for my children, but
yeah,
I'm going to pursue
yeah,
my dream, my hope, this other part of me that needs to be fulfilled in the evenings, that 5 to 9 shift, right?
yes, yes. And that's it. Again, I also encourage people like if there's something that you're interested in doing and you don't know the steps, getting a mentor, connecting with somebody that does know how to do it. I was talking to a young lady, she does dance, and I was like, she has her own business in dance. You want to check in with her to see how it goes. I mean, it's not that you're going to hear everything you want to hear or what you need to hear, but chew the meat, spit out the bones, and sometimes you got to put the meat to the side too, because it's not right now and things of that sort. So finding that balance of finding people that are doing the things that you enjoy doing. That's why I did internships. In my internship, I found out I was like, oh, this ain't bad. But then when I got in a real field, it was a little different. But I was still prepared. I knew what was about to happen. It prepared me and warmed me up for what could come of it. So again, doing your research to find out, is this something you really want to do? I'll have kids that are like, I want to do hair. I said, cool. You can stand up all day doing hair? Yeah, cool. If the person don't like their hair, how do you want to handle it? Then I suppose, we got a problem. Maybe we shouldn't do that because that may happen. The person could be having a bad day. You could be having a bad day. So really doing your, work to do it parallel to see, is this really something I want to do or maybe I shouldn't do this?
And you're going to navigate a pivot, whether it's a planned pivot or you just going to go in there and quit your job tomorrow. What you need around you is support. And that's what
Yes.
I'll tell anybody. You need people in your life that see your vision
Hmm.
and that are going to support you no matter what. And you
Yeah.
also need to be a person that's not afraid to ask for what you need, whether it's
Hmm.
somebody to watch your child for a couple hours a week, or whether it's to ask for someone to support your business.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I see that holding people back, that they're afraid to have these conversations around what they need. And I
Hmm.
wish I could just sprinkle a little dust on the whole world and help people to navigate difficult conversations, because that's something that I learned early on and it served me well. So that's what I want for other people, to ask for support and to ask for people to help you, whether it's asking someone to have a mentoring conversation with you or asking them to attend your next workshop. The only
That's
answer
really
that can
good.
be is yes or no. There could also be maybe just not right now. So just
Hmm.
don't be afraid to ask.
Yes, don't be afraid to ask. It doesn't hurt. If anything, they'll say, they don't want to help you. And that's fine, find somebody else. I promise somebody else is just as excited to share with you. And friends, if you go over there on them TikTok streets, I'm telling you, you can learn a lot of things over there. You go to them YouTube streets, you learn a lot of things. And again, you find out what works for you.
That's
What
true.
works for you. And these people aren't overnight successes. Granted, sometimes they can do something and it blows up and they go viral and things of that sort. Um, but everything is not always a viral moment. So you got to start small and again, continue to build, be consistent, what it is that you're doing and for perfecting your craft. And then it causes people like, oh, what's she doing? Let me check in and things of that sort. Because you feel like, I only have 5 likes. Keep going. I don't
Yeah.
have no likes. Keep going. Oh, I got 100 likes. Keep going. That's a big part of keep going.
Yeah.
Mm, good, good,
You're
good.
on it tonight.
Yeah, yeah. I feel inspired by the coach. I feel inspired. Um, so what are some fears? You say, talking about quitting job. Sometimes people are fearful, of quitting their job. Again, I didn't say quit your job. You got to do what works for your household, okay? But let's talk about the fears that happen that people, are working to overcome as it relates to either quitting their job or doing this parallel career for this 5 to 9.
You know what? It really boils down to imposter syndrome. There are so many people that are just afraid
Yeah.
that they're going to fail or
Mhm,
that they don't see the vision for themselves. And that's where I think coaching also is a good thing because in coaching, we work on a mindset shift. I
mhm,
want you to show up and understand that you are a person that has value, that
yeah,
you are a person that if anybody could, do well in the business, why wouldn't it be you?
mhm,
Because
mhm,
I personally say to myself, and this is part of my mindset work that I do every day, is
mhm,
if I'm a bet on anybody, I'm going to bet on myself. I
yeah,
don't know all the people in the world that are doing great things, but I know my own work ethic.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just challenging people to really get to a mindset where they're always going to bet on themselves because they know their skill set, they know what they bring to the table. And so that's the one thing, if I could, among the other one things that I've said tonight, but that's another thing that sometimes that fear of choosing yourself, that fear of people thinking you're an imposter will get in the
mhm.
way.
And even thinking you're that imposter, right? Knowing what you bring to the table. The other week, I was talking to my brother, and I was like, I told him I'm trying my best. He was like, stop saying it. You're not trying your best. You're doing it, and you're doing a good job. And I was like, I am doing a good job. I had to just like sit with that because sometimes we can also doubt ourselves or put ourselves down, and we are knocking it out the park with what we've been handed. We're playing our cards really good to win the game. You win some, you lose some, right? But you're doing a good job. So you also want to make sure that you're, again, tracking those successes.
Hmm.
And if you haven't been doing that, please take a moment to write down what was that wins of January. You can talk about the lows and the mids of January as well, but we also want to highlight the wins because what happens is we'll get a low and we'll let that outshine the great.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We gotta keep going. We gotta keep on pushing for those wins that we get and giving ourselves grace because the low is going to come, a mid is going to come. It's just going to happen. But again, but you did knock it out the park, and you want to be like, yeah, she did that. He did that. We did that.
And so you pat yourself on the back when you
We
when you do a good job,
did
because if
that.
nobody's going to clap for you, you're going to clap for yourself. That's what I'm saying. We have to encourage ourselves.
We have to encourage ourselves. And I want to sit here for a second too, because I've been in some situations where sometimes you're doing a good job and you don't get praised for it. And it's not that you're doing it to get praised for it. Um, but sometimes you want people to show some sign that they appreciate,
Absolutely.
things that sort. And I was talking to a friend today and it was like the importance of putting that to the side. If they don't say thank you, if they don't say you did a great job, you got to know that you did a good job. You have to be confident in what it is that you did, because sometimes somebody could have had it like, yeah, that was good. But then it was like, that was really good. It was a delayed response. You didn't hear that part, but you know that you put your best foot forth and you got to go with that because people may or may not say anything. But I promise you, you keep going forward and doing the best that you got and it'll work out. It'll work
That's
out.
right.
So in that, how should one celebrate small wins other than like encouraging themselves or patting themselves on the back? What are some other things? Let's brain dump a couple of things that one
Brain
can do.
dump.
Yes.
They can buy themselves some ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
They
I
can
bought
go get
myself
their
that outfit.
you buy the outfit,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
go get your nails done.
Yes.
You can go for a run, or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you can do all those things, or you can go on a
Yes.
trip,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
go on that vacation that people like to have, right? So
Yes.
just depends. I mean, there's so many ways because it really is just acknowledging the fact that you did something that's
Yes.
worth celebrating. So
Yes.
even if you're just saying, you know what, Jen, you did a great job, that's what you're saying to yourself. That could be enough. But if the
Mm-hmm,
budget allows for a
mm-hmm.
proper celebration, we're going to do something. Whether it's
Yeah.
your favorite cup of coffee, that ice cream, whatever it is, we're going to do it.
Yes, and that's so important. Again, whatever it is, and I'm saying right now, because you might not be able to do the vacation now, but you can get that ice cream. You might
Yeah.
not be able to, get that outfit, but you can go for that run. Because then you can fit in another outfit. It all works out together. It all works out together.
It all
Um,
works together.
yes, but it's really important for you to celebrate those small wins. Because, like I say, you could be working, 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 and when you don't reward yourself, you can feel burnt out too. So again, in your
Hmm.
parallel careers, you still want to make sure you're taking those moments for that self care, for whatever it is that causes you to take a moment to breathe and keep on going. Because if not, you're gonna get burnt out,
Hmm.
and I don't want none of that to happen. I don't want that to happen to none of us. I don't want that to happen to none of
Yeah.
us. So another thing is like, what does success look like right now? Not someday, because a lot of times you're like, well, I thought I was going to be, on the red carpet. Friend, pull out your own red carpet. It takes time to get there and things of that sort. As you continue to, this, because if I go out tomorrow and say I'm cooking and people didn't even know I knew how to cook, I got to build up clientele, right? So again,
Hmm.
it's a slow burn. So let's talk about that, of how to look at what success looks like right now. Because that all ties in with that celebrating wins too. At least you started it.
So what I will say is this, that because I coach on the side or parallel career, I can only take on so many clients. And so the clients that my client list is carefully curated, if that means anything. So it's carefully curated. And I am happy when I'm able to celebrate my clients. I had a client that emceed a tea at her church, and she was fearful of doing it, and she did an amazing job. I had another client that was the Women's Day speaker at an event, and she did an amazing job. Another client that got an interview. These are the things that I celebrate with them, because when they tell me what's going on in their life, I'm praying with them and for them. And so when they come back with the good news, I'm just super excited. And so
Yeah,
I am right now choosing to live in the moment as my business grows. And so
yeah,
that's what success looks like with me, for me, celebrating them, getting them to that next level, making sure that we're checking their goals off the list of the things that
mhm,
they engaged me for,
mhm,
and just making sure they are doing it. And so that just makes me so excited and so happy, because it's such a good group of people
mhm.
that I have come to respect and care about what's happening for their future.
Yes, and it is so big. Celebrating now those wins, get in front of people to talk is not as easy as people think.
That is true.
You feel like you're gonna blunder the words and things that sort. I mean, we started the live today, and I was like, Jennifer, you can't read today. I had to read a whole bunch yesterday, did just fine. But again, it happens. Give me some grace. One day's a win, one day's a low, but we, making it there and things that sort. But celebrating those things and the process that it takes to get there, right? Because with the client speaking in front of people, the build up of practicing, doing them little breaths and things to start to reduce anxiety and things of that sort, to finally get there. It's like just mind blowing and amazing of like, I did that. Doesn't mean she want to take on 5 more speaking engagements, but she might take on one more,
There you
right?
go.
And that's that baby step of getting there to success. And again, keeping on, showing up, being consistent, and doing those things. So good. So good. So you have a YouTube channel. Let's talk about it. What do you do over
Ooh.
there at Level Up with Coach Lani?
I'm over there talking about career advice, giving advice on the things that I find, topics that come to me, because it's either things that I've worked through with my clients, or things that I'm reading about that it's important to the workforce, or things that people email me or send me messages about, either on Instagram or social media or what have you. And so I
Mhm,
turn it into a YouTube topic where I give some tips,
mhm.
and I've been enjoying it. I started in August, but I'm over 100 videos, long and
Yeah.
short, and I'm like, how did I get here? So I just continue to amaze myself, is what I'll say. But I'm having a lot of fun on YouTube. And when I started coaching, I didn't think about the fact of that coaches are branded. Coaches are on social media, they're on
Mhm,
YouTube.
mhm,
Those are the
mhm.
coaches that you see, that you
Yeah.
think are popular. So I
Yeah.
didn't have a plan for any of this. So it's been a lot of fun to navigate social media, and I've kind of found my voice and found my people that want to at least hear me talk.
Yes, yes, I like that. And that's it. Being consistent, over 100 videos, just recently started how it's continuing to blossom and bloom. And we only need to hear one thing where it's like, oh, I needed that. Force her to follow, force her to subscribe. So that's the part of you being consistent and putting out there. You'd be surprised how it connects people with you.
That's true.
I like it. I like it. You said about 7 months ago, less than a year that you've been on there.
Less than a year, so it's
Yeah.
been it's been fun, and I try to, like I keep saying, I really am trying to live in the moment of building this business brick by brick, and so
Mhm.
every portion of it that I'm learning along the way, because I didn't know any about this, has just been so exciting for me because people have enjoyed watching it. People that are a part of the process that talk to me about it, that, oh, that resonated with me, even if they're not my client, it's somebody that I'm reaching, so I'm loving it.
I love it. Again, it's helping somebody, encouraging somebody to keep on going. And again, friends, y'all want to go ahead and subscribe over on YouTube.
Please do.
Level Up with Coach Lani. Also subscribe, to Swag Her and Chosen. We always dropping some gems out here. That's how you get connected with the people. But it'll
That's
also
right.
let you know when they're going live or when they're dropping a video. So you can get those tidbits, Even if you can't get to it at that moment, it'll help you to be able to easily find them so that you can find out what's going on, what's the new tip of the day. How can I be successful? What coaching do I need today? That pep talk that you need to be motivated to keep going. And again, it pays off. It pays off. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So what are some things that you want us to walk away with?
Let's see here. What do I want people to walk away with? I want people to walk away with knowing that if they have a goal, they just break it down into actionable steps and it will be achievable. If they need additional support, that's what coaching, mentoring, all these extra things are. There's a different role for coaching as opposed to mentoring, and you find what you need, and that will help you along the way. The next thing that I really want people to really start to do is to just make sure that they are believing in themselves, that they're betting on themselves when it comes to what it is that they're trying to do, whether it's navigating that pivot or, as we talk about, getting that promotion, that next thing that is in their future that they can see. Go ahead, dream big, and achieve it.
Go ahead, dream big, and achieve it. And we talk about affirmation sometimes, and sometimes you have to encourage yourself because you can get discouraged. You can feel like I didn't knock it out the park, or I didn't devote as much time as I wanted to because other priorities took preference to
Mhm.
this priority, right? Um, so really taking those moments to go ahead and keep pushing, keep going. Those goals being realistic. The goal is to be a millionaire. There's baby steps to get there. There's ways that you can do it overnight. However, I don't know if they all legal. And I don't want you to have no trouble, right? With the baby steps to get there, investing, being smart with our funds and things of that sort. As you do those things, you get there. So again, baby steps will get you there, but go big and don't stop betting on yourself. I gotta tell myself that too, because I'll be like, ooh, I tried. No, you did. Celebrate those wins and when you have been successful, when you have succeeded. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I subscribe to your YouTube channel. I'm excited for your videos. I'm gonna check a couple of them out, get some inspiration, motivation, so I can keep going as well.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Yes. You'll also be sure to visit on Instagram to follow exec_Coach Lani. She's doing some great things over there as well, dropping some gems and some nuggets. And again, that's how we get connected. Great information is going out. You want to connect with people that's giving good information because there's a lot of people that's giving information. Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Okay. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it not, depends. And sometimes it's just the wrong person delivering it. I ain't gonna hold you. So we gotta also be careful of what we take in. But if it's good information, go ahead and pick it up, subscribe to it and tune into it and tap into it to get what it is that you need. This was pretty cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've
One more
enjoyed it.
question. Thank you.
Yes.
So if somebody does need coaching, do they go to your YouTube? I guess they go to YouTube and see your message too, but for sure, I know on Instagram they go DM you and think that. So, or at least connect for any resources and supports that you have related to that.
That's right. Send me a message on Instagram. That's probably the quickest way. But I do have a website. They can check me out, coachingwithlani.com. But either
Gotcha.
way, you can send a message on the website or on Instagram. I'd be happy to chat with you about your goals.
Gotcha. Coachingwithlani.com. Sorry, I didn't hit it, friends. I'm sure with y'all though. So you want to go ahead and head over there as well because you get some support and resources. I'm gonna. There we go. That's how it comes up. And again, on your iPhones, if you screen, try Yep, if you screenshot, you can take up the words for you. Pretty catchy for you to remember as well. I'm not sure how it works on droids. No shade to droids. I'm just an Apple girl now. It's been a while since I've been a droid girl. But go ahead and head over to coachingwithlani.com. You can book a call, get some support, and get connected to some supports that you may need. The executive coaching, some workshops and trainings. And again, she's doing a thing, been doing it for some years now. She knows what she's doing.
I hope so.
But we're supposed to bet on ourselves. Let's
I'm
change
betting
that.
on myself. I absolutely know. You see how I just fell out right there just now. But yes, thank you for believing in me. I believe in myself.
Yes. And that's what it takes, friends. Like, seeing that in real time, sometimes we could doubt ourselves, but we want to be able to, encourage our friends and support our friends and let them know, no, you're doing a good job. You got your stuff together. You're doing your videos. So people is watching, they comment, and they follow, and you're doing it.
Thank you, my sister. God bless you.
We got this. We got this. I thank you again so much for joining us. I hope you have a great evening, and I'll be sure to follow to see what's going on in your YouTube streets. Friends, I hope you enjoyed us tonight as we had Coach Lani for the 5 to 9 shift. Do you have a 5 to 9 shift? Are you doing some things on the side? Some of us are, and guess what? It is totally okay to do them. Don't get burnt out. It's parallel career. I like that. I'm going to use that. It's a parallel career. But you want to make sure that you give yourself grace and that you're betting on yourself. I'm telling myself that too. Because, hey, sometimes we knock out the park, sometimes we don't. But guess what? We keep on getting back up again. We're still standing. We're still strong. Come from mountain. Now I can't think of the movie because I'm trying to figure out what it is with Derek. Luke, what's that baby name? I'm still standing. I'm still strong. I can't think of it. If you know it, keep standing because you're still strong. Don't forget our quote of the day. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities by Stephen Covey. Again, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. So friends, only you know what your priorities are. You be sure to schedule them as needed. Give yourself grace because sometimes you can knock out the top priorities and then get to the other items. And sometimes you need to take a pause. Give yourself rest when you need it. Make sure you're scheduling that time for yourself as well. Don't forget the items that Swag Her Magazine has going on. You want to be a part of the Visibility Vault for Black business women. Ascend founder members are the women who believe first, the ones who saw the vision before it was polished and said yes to elevation early. If you're called to more visibility, more authority, and true alignment, then this is your tier. Because visibility isn't about going viral, it's about being positioned, walking into rooms already respected, being introduced as the expert you are. Ascend is for women who isn't asking for a seat, but she's building tables. So if you're interested, head on over to swagheartonline.com. They're doing some amazing things. Also, we want to encourage you to tap into the Swag Heart travel books. Let's spotlight your story, showcase your journey and accomplishments with style. This book is designed to amplify your visibility. These exclusive features are distributed at premier Black women's empowerment events, putting you in front of a dynamic and supportive audience. So sometimes you can't get to the conference, but your business can get there. And if you want to be across the nations, you want to get yourself in these travel books. So visit swagcarpr.com for more information. I talk about Swagger, but I also want to talk a little bit about Chosen. Why? Because we got some hoodies, and we're coming into hoodie season in this lovely springtime. So we have I don't have the capacity hoodie. You got to know what you have the capacity for. I get good feedback all the times from this hoodie. People love it, okay? Because it's letting people know I'm out here in these streets doing what I got to do, but I don't got the capacity for too much more. It's letting people know, and you gave them a warning, so you want to let them know if you blow up. I told you I didn't have the capacity, all right? We also have our Check on Your Friends hoodie, because sometimes you want to check on your friends. And then we have our limited edition Let Me Ask God First. Be sure to head on over to chosencounselors.com. We do also still have our planner and journals. Go ahead and support your girl. We're doing some great things. Last but not least, if you'd like to be a guest, be sure to drop a comment below. If you know somebody that would be an amazing guest, send me their names. I can talk to them because, we like to get in people's business. I share mine all the time, but let me meet somebody else. Last but not least, don't forget to join us next week as we will have Joseph Grant for Alignment, Commanding Your Day. Be sure to tune in next Monday at 8 p.m. for Alignment, Commanding Your Day with Joseph Grant. Friends, I do hope that you enjoyed it on tonight. Always a good time here at Jen Cares. I appreciate you for tuning in, for liking. If you comment, if you didn't comment, if you thought it in your heart, I appreciate you and I love you, and I'll see you next time. Good night.
Thanks for joining Jen Cares this week. Special thanks to our sponsors, Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, guests, and viewers. Such a good conversation. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you found value in today's show, we'd appreciate your sharing it with a friend and dropping a comment down below. Until next time.